Well, I don't feel like I'm a part of the everyday American society, and I don't want to be, let me tell you. Okay? I do my damnedest to tear it down.
A governor's task force has determined that punk rockers are society's new subversives and must be treated as such.
Taxation is theft.
Oh! God damn it, motherfucker!
We're talking peace, love, and honor. These governments of this world are coming to an end.
The FBI is feeling the heat.
Your own conscience, your own morality, your own decision, your own self. You alone can do it. There is no authority but yourself.
The BR Hates Fed Show. Welcome to the rice fields, motherfuckers.
Hey, how's it going, lads and ladies? I'm BR and I hate feds, and today is Wednesday, the 27th of January, 2021. And, let me tell you guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the second time I've recorded this episode, because it's my new show, and I kinda came into it with the wrong angle. I came into it like a fucking radio newscaster, so I recorded it exactly a week ago today. And, inauguration day for my inaugural episode. I thought it was cute. And then I realized, I don't give a fuck about the inauguration. The first episode of my new show, why would I dedicate it to some fucking regime change, going from an orange man to a pasty white man? I mean, I don't see a fucking difference. They have a different letter next to their name. They wear different color power ties. And they lie about different things. Apart from that, why do I give a fuck? Why would I do an hour on a fucking regime change? That's dull as shit. So, after sitting on it for a week and being like, was it good? Is this what I want to do with my new show? I was like, nah, fuck it, trash it, do it again. So, we are starting right from scratch, and we're going to talk about some interesting shit this time. Alright, we'll spend a minute on the inauguration, just because it was funny. So, we had fucking, troops of redcoats marching through Washington, and then, a bunch of virtue signaling about the Capitol Guard that, I guess, led them away from the politicians or whatever. He was wearing, Gucci or some shit. It's I don't know, it was just fucking silly, and then everyone's focusing on a bunch of war criminals wearing, designer brands when everyone's sitting at home broke as fucking jobless. It was cool. The Democrats are certainly back in power. It's this country loves pageantry. I was saying to my coworker, when there's a regime change in England, there is no one gives a fuck. And so they don't spend, whatever it costs to, 25,000 troops in DC, and then all the pageantry and the marching and all that bullshit. They must spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Definitely millions. Getting all that shit up and running for a little show to be oh yeah, you have a new tyrant. In England, I don't remember if we do anything or not. I'm 99% sure there's not a parade or anyone, or if there is, no one gives a flying fuck about it. Even the BBC, the propaganda wing of the government. Jesus, I think they just hand over the keys and then you're like, oh, there's a new twat on the TV. That's all I can think. So yeah, we did it under 3 minutes. We covered that bullshit, and we can get it out the way. But have you noticed, I'm actually very proud of the leftists. So we're a week into the new regime, 7 days, and the leftists are bitching, which I love. That they smashed the Portland, Oregon DNC headquarters, and I am actually very proud of them. I really hope this energy keeps up. I think it might. I think these new lefties, they're not the anti-war left like the Bush years, but they're angry, and they like doing shit in person with bricks. So, a lot of people have been talking about this recently. I think it was Pete of Free Man Beyond the Wall was saying, like, I don't care which way you radicalize anymore, as long as you fucking radicalize. And I really fucking agree, because if you're sitting at home, like, you know, pushing the blue or red button, you're useless to us. But if you're making some kind of upset and being like, yeah, the system's fucked, even if your solution is wrong, at least you're another voice making that problem a more mainstay topic of conversation in the wider world. So I'm actually kind of rooting for leftists, because they're kind of what the libertarians were for the Trump regime. It was like, you know, like the Tea Party guys who were still hanging on to it, all the, I guess, Rand Paul disappointed people were like, hey, if you're gonna be Republican, maybe you should be a bit more fiscally conservative. And, you know, there was like a little bit of a push, and then there was like obviously the more extreme end who still were invested in politics, you know, the libertarians for Trump, who were kind of hopeful. That, even saying that makes me vomit a little bit. But there was some hope that he could be steered to be useful and like maybe be a useful idiot, and obviously he proved to be quite the opposite, a populist nationalist who did literally nothing for liberty. We're probably not going to talk about Trump much on this show, so I'll give him his one credit, which is, from me, which is the right to try thing, which shouldn't have even been a government decision, of course, but I was happy to see that terminally ill people now have the chance to try experimental drugs. Experimental sounds wackier than it is in actuality, from my understanding, but you know what I'm saying. I think that was a worthwhile change, and a genuinely good change that no one can be like, nah, that was evil in X amount of ways. I'm sure someone bitched about it somehow, but that was a good move. Aside from that, I can't fucking remember a single thing that I was like, fuck yeah, Trump, for like 4 years. I don't know. Bombs kept on being dropped. Taxes kept on being taken. Gun rights fucking didn't get touched. Actually, we lost gun rights. Yeah, bump stock set the precedent for firearm components being banned, and yeah, the slippery slope has been, we've tripped down it, because fuckheads thought Trump was a solution. Yeah, and we are... Of course, government keeps on marching, rights keep on being taken away. This isn't an accident or anything. It's how it's meant to work. And because people have kept on following that way of thinking and thinking you can vote your way to liberty, yeah, I mean, we're just on a continued path. I think I just went 7 minutes without pausing, really, at all. We're gonna smoke a little bit more and slow down the speed. Maybe in post if we have to. Just enjoying a joint with BR. That's what I should have named the show, but I don't know. So yeah, you know, the Trump thing's over, and it was good for 4 years. We got some memes. We lost some rights. Oh yeah, fucking Trump didn't even get rid of the Patriot Act. So I don't know what the fuck anyone gives a shit about Trump for. It's literally not even about liberty anymore for the Republicans. It's populist nationalism, because it's more fun than being angry. They got sick of being angry with the the Tea Party thing. Although if they keep fucking around, it's gonna become a Tree Party. Fuck, my joint went out. God damn it. So yeah, the Republicans got scared. They didn't get scared. The Republicans got, like, sour about being sour. They really gave in to bitching and being like, you know, our rights are being taken away. And so they decided to get vengeful and instead be like boastful and loud and obnoxious and really embrace that American nationalism in all of the most stereotypical ways. And yeah, I mean, what did it do for them? Nothing. They're less American than they were 4 years ago. They have less rights than Americans did 4 years ago. So what is there to be proud of? And obviously, like, you know, the blue solution wasn't going to do anything more than the red one, but this is the best thing you have to offer, like going 55 miles per hour instead of 60 into a tree. I just don't, I genuinely cannot understand the binary voter population. It makes no fucking sense to me anymore. It's just a rabbit hole, and I wasn't even there that long ago, you know? And same with many of you. Many of us are pretty fucking new to this stuff, within, you know, the OG people being, I don't know, maybe not like the Ron Paul people, 2012, so I guess 8 years, or basic edition, 14 years deep, I guess. Is that right? No, I think I really fucked that. 12 years? Ah, fuck. Anyway, the Ron Paul people have been doing it a minute, and so I don't know, but those are like the more OG guys. And so that's still not a lot of time. Like, you know, in or around a decade for the bulk of the more experienced part of this community, and then most of us in like the fresh kind of wave of people on Instagram, that kind of movement. Really, we've only been even interested in this shit since 2016. From 2016 to now, I went from being like, we must vote, to like protect our rights and shit, and then I was like, oh well, eventually your rights just get eroded because that's how government works. That's a feature, not a bug of government. And so then, I don't know, I've completely lost understanding of the thought process to vote, to the point that I think it might even be a little bit detrimental. I'm not sure I could reason with a voter as well as I could have like 2 years ago, because now I'm just like, it's just alien to me. It seems fucking mad to and it's not apathy, it's quite the opposite. It's like you're wasting your time and your energy. It's not this like sitting in the corner fucking shoot up with heroin because you're sad and government will always exist kind of energy, like, you know, the doomer mindset. It's like, no, this shit is really not working out. It hasn't been for some time, and there's plenty of evidence of this, and anyone who is into their history, I think people who like history are the quickest anarchists, because they're like, oh yeah, no, that's right. This doesn't fucking work, does it? And it never has. We've literally seen every possible bug it has, damn near, apart from nuclear catastrophe, but we almost got it in the Cold War. I mean, it's like the fucking writing's on the wall, and all over the place, really. I'm gonna go proper tinfoil hat on you. But yeah, all this to say, voting's an alien concept now. I'm so glad that I'm at peace with it, and that I'm, instead of having this like, well, someday there's gonna be a civil war and that's the solution, instead it's gonna be like, no, I mean, government is gonna be ignored more and more by the populace, just exponentially, as it becomes just not worth the time, not worth investing your faith in, and your money, and your safety, you know, outsourcing your responsibility to this failing organization. Like, people will just take care of themselves, because that's what they've had to do all of last year. So I'm really, people get very pessimistic with how much government's bloating and how much power they seem to be grabbing, but that is, I mean, clearly it's a symptom of what's coming. You know, this is not like a healthy change for them, because they have to do it to keep on top. There's been so many moments over the last year where if they didn't really slam down their fist and like, no, we run this shit, they wouldn't have been running it. Like all sorts of groups, you know. That's again going back to why it's so important to have people radicalized all over the place, because the more holes there are in this bitch, the quicker it's gonna sink, and we can't make all of them. And that's not to be like collapsitarian about it, but empires fall, empires fail, because they're not sustainable. because people get greedy, as they have been. I mean, we had the biggest transfer of wealth in human history during the pandemic, being the first stimulus bill. Corporations paying themselves via their backdoor plugs in Congress. And congressmen, I'm sure, getting a good kickback. I mean, they gave themselves a fucking raise during a pandemic and an economic crash. It's like... I can't... this is also... I can't help but not be optimistic. Which confuses the fuck out of so many people who are like, BR's just clearly, like, off his shit in the corner on drugs to be optimistic during this. But, truly, like, I think this isn't gonna last. I think we might even see... Like, you know, it's not gonna be... necessarily completely in our lifetime, but I think over the course of our lives, people are going to become so much more independent because technology just enables us to be more and more independent. And, you know, government's still going to exist when everyone who's listened to this show is dead. I'm not gonna say it's going to happen tomorrow or anything. Your kids are probably going to see a very eroded state. And it's going to take a few generations until it's not a part of people's lives, unless they really fucking seek it out, you know? But it's fading. Their control is fading. As they grab for more, it's clear how little control they have. I mean, a bunch of fucking rednecks who are a little bit rowdy, like punk show riot rowdy. That's how rowdy the fucking Capitol was. It was a bunch of people strong-arming their way through a few locked doors and beating up some cops. You know, that's what it was. Not being... I don't give a fuck about any group involved in that. So, if there was a... if they really wanted to clamp down on us... They have no fucking clue. Actually, they very well might have some fucking clue. Gonna go completely back on myself right there. But I don't think they have the ability to clamp down any way like they try to project they do, or that we see in movies with these, like, government dystopias. It's like... It's almost like subtle propaganda, like, don't push them to go this far, because they can. And it's like, I don't think they could. I just don't think... they're that capable, especially, I mean, maybe in Europe where people, and other places where people have less ability, but you factor in, like, how much of a powder keg the civilian populaces have pushed in the United States. There's so many fucking arms in this country, so many capable people, so many... different factions. We would be Syria times 500. It would, and oh my god, I sat through a fucking seminar on all the factions at Sandhurst. You would not fucking believe how many factors are at play in that country. Well, back in 2014, God knows, it's probably just the CIA and a few other, the Mossad fighting itself now, the FSB, all backing different militias as they've always done. God, this is just a long form rant. I'm digging it though, mainly because I have a lead joint in my hand, but you know, I hope you guys are along for the ride too. Let's change it up, shall we? Politics is a bore after a while. So, I've been looking at upgrading my Glock again. I'm learning a fuck ton about handguns. That's something a lot of people might not necessarily consider with me, is I grew up very knowledgeable about firearms and handling them a fuck ton, but I wasn't handling handguns my whole childhood and adolescence because you just can't have them in England. There's some kind of bullshit way to get them. They have like a fucking dildo attached to the bottom and like have a 16-inch barrel, but that's like the only way you can have handguns. They make them dorky as fuck, so no one wants them. So I never fucked with them apart from when I briefly worked at a gun shop. But anyway, I don't have that much experience with handguns. So since I've moved here, and I shot handguns when I came to the US over the years, but literally maybe I'd put being very fucking generous, 800 rounds through handguns of all different calibers before I moved to the United States. So, very little experience with them. No, I'm actually, it's kind of embarrassing. My handgun skills are not great. I'll give myself some credit. I'm fucking kick-ass with a rifle. I can handle a rifle really fucking well. And I'm quite proud of that. But, handgun, I'm still working on it. It's a very different skill set. To me, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of training with it, and I'm definitely getting better. I'm sure I'm probably being pretty harsh on myself. Like, I'm certainly, I could outshoot cops doing that fucking qual, but that's not really saying shit. I don't know. It's something I'm working on. But to that end, I've been working with just my Glock 19 out in the desert, steel target, just, putting in reps and shit. And, I'm really being tough on myself about, skills before tech and, upgrades and shit, because, and this is something everyone needs to consider, especially, I get a lot of questions about, people being broke and shit, because we're all fucking poor. But, because we have fucking expensive hobbies, damn near everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm into guns, tech, cars, I have a Tacoma. Every libertarian has a Tacoma. Fact. Even Kerry Wedler. No. Where the fuck was I going with that? Oh yeah, so people too often upgrade their shit before they're fully competent with it and have the fundamentals down. I'm guilty of this, you're guilty of this, we're all guilty of this, we've all done it at some point. We've, you get your AR and it's got the stock fucking plastic sights on it, whatever the fuck. Yeah, oh Christ, I hope it doesn't have stock plastic sights on it, but everyone's first Cabela's AR. Whatever. You pick it up and you want it to look cool, so you can take some pictures for the gram, and then you take it on your dinner table or your fucking outdoor glass table. Oof. But we all want to get into that Gucci gear photography and shit, and so people go out their way and they end up with some. They strap some shit on from Amazon, whatever. $100 on a scope, and then rush off to take a picture, and then they get fucking ridiculed for it on Instagram, get memed, and then they want to quickly amend, so they'll go and spend $500, which they can't afford, on some new, Trijicon fucking RMR to slap on it, and rush away, take pictures again, but they didn't spend the time on iron sights to get those fundamentals down. People, I don't know, all this to say, your money is much better invested in training and ability than tech. When you feel like you've really leveled out on your ability and you're like, this is the best I've shot, this is the best I do all these things, then be like, okay, is there anything that can help me accomplish this more efficiently, more consistently, all that good stuff. So, all this to say, I'm starting to get pretty confident on my iron sights for my pistol. And I don't mean confident as in learning to shoot, shaking deer, kind of looking at the range. I'm just talking, I don't feel guilty or, behind on my handgun usage anymore. So I've been thinking about trying out a red dot, because I held off until I was like, okay, this is as consistent as it's gonna get. So I've been looking into putting a red dot on my pistol, because I wanted to for ages. I've long been interested in it. Yeah, I didn't want to just jump into it before I got my fundamentals down with my handgun iron sights. I don't know. I fucking my complete experience is shooting a range of handguns in the US over the course of years. Not not nearly enough range time at Sandhurst on a Glock 17 with their fucking god-awful holsters. That was like a gun safe on your leg. Fucking Serpa holster so you can pull it out and shoot yourself. And then, yeah, since I've been here training on my own Glock 19 and a few other handguns. So, yeah, finally I think I'm like, okay, I'm gonna move on to a pistol red dot. And I got my milled slide from Zafiri Precision. A few people might have seen that post. And then I got it RMR cut because I was like, okay, we're gonna really save up and be, invest in a really good, reliable brand, Trijicon, And so I was like, yep, it's decided. It's RMR cut. That's it. And then fucking Primary Arms, who I actually really like, came out with are coming out with the ACSS Vulcan, which is a hollow sun red dot, and it has their chevron sight, which I really dig, within a wider circle. And I was hesitant because, I don't know, Hollow Sun has gone from being like memed to being actually very dependable recently. I've seen a lot of good stuff about them. I have shot one gun with a Hollow Sun sight and I had no complaints. Of course I wasn't, chucking it at rocks and seeing how it held up compared to an RMR. And that's an important thing to consider when choosing. If you're debating a $200 price difference between things, you gotta think, how are you gonna be using this? Because for most of us, we're considering, will I have to use this weapon to defend my life? That's the majority of people, not thinking competition, not thinking target practice, thinking this will carry with me, and God forbid I have to use it to stop someone fucking taking my life. So, what does that look like? Are you gonna be climbing mountains with this thing strapped to your leg? Do you expect to be pushed down potentially, and maybe fall on your sight? Maybe your weapon gets smashed into a wall in a scrap, and will your optic be able to hold up to that? And there's nothing to say a $200 price difference guarantees that the higher one is going to break less on you. But these are important things to fucking consider, real world applications. And so I was very dubious about even considering Hollow Sun, but again, kind of balancing money and ability with what you pick up, I grabbed a Primary Arms 1/6 times low power variable optic for my AR, which some of you guys might have seen. And that was like $400 or something, which is fucking nothing to try out a LPVO. Because I'd shot a few nicer ones like Leopolds and Nightforce and stuff, but I'd only put a few hundred rounds through those optics, and really like the capabilities, and hearing a lot of people talk about them, I was like, okay, that's the move for like a utilitarian rifle. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to chuck, $1,000 at a scope. I'll buy one from an affordable brand, but something that I can, reliably work with to see if I like just an LPVO or a red dot and magnifier or whatever. And yeah, I really fucking like them. LPVO, I think that's the way to go for kind of a shit hits the fan rifle. I mean, it's jack of all trades, master of none, but I think that's what you need in a recce rifle kind of build. So yeah, I'm pretty fucking harsh on my shit, and I haven't managed to break that yet. And I know everyone says, oh, I'm rough on my stuff, but I'm a fucking cunt to my gear, is the only way to say it. It gets thrown, it gets fucking dived down with, I'm a bit dramatic, you know, I like to, I like to play in the dirt a little bit, and, I don't know, I haven't fucking broke it yet, so, bravo, Primary Arms. Anyway, so, I had the mentality of, oh, I'll buy this, and when I break it, I'll upgrade to I'll treat myself to a Leopold, or, you know, Trijicon, Night Force, I don't know, something. And I haven't fucked it up yet, so I'm still running it. I don't know, I kinda like Primary Arms, unexpectedly. I just always expect anything cheap to be, like, fucking abysmal, but it's, like, affordable, and... Oh, and the reticle itself, the ACSS, the chevron, I don't know, it's just very intuitive, especially for, like, moving target kind of shit. And for ranging, too. So... yeah, I mean, fucking, it was a good buy, and I haven't regretted it yet. So now I'm like, fuck, do I get a Hollow Sun? I'm very tempted by this ACSS, because like I was saying, the chevron with the outer circle. I haven't seen any other red dots on pistols like that yet. Actually, I'm not sure if I've seen any with like the outer circle for even rifles, actually. But just for... like, very quick target acquisition from odd angles and shit, shooting behind barricades, tires and shit. I think I might try it out. They've got pre-orders on at the minute. I swear to fuck I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. But, yeah, they have pre-orders, and I think they go out in April. So I'm thinking about... I mean, it's $309. Like... that's acceptable, and it's already, the 507, is that what it is? ACSS Vulcan 507, let me pull this up, so I get this right, so you guys don't think I'm talking about shit. Yeah, okay, Hollow Sun HS 507 CX2, fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, $309 is worth a fucking go, you know, worst case scenario, I either sell it on or have it on like a sub gun or something for shits and giggles. And then worst case scenario, yeah, try and get an RMR. Because I was so sold on them, and then I just haven't seen innovation between the new models yet. So, it is what it is. Anyway. If anyone has any experience with Hollow Sun optics, feel free to write in at the email. I like talking gun shit with people, and I know a lot, but there's always new shit to learn, and I've been focusing on... I used to be like such a gun nut, because that's like the only thing I could enjoy in England, because politics was fucking abysmal. And not that I enjoy politics here, but it consumes more of my time, so I spend more time... focused on political shit and like propaganda and stuff than I do learning about firearm development. So I'm like almost behind. So I'm trying to get back into it now that work's a bit more stable and I can actually focus on learning about new gear and upgrading as appropriate. So if anyone has any experience with a Hollow Sun or RMR pistol dots, feel free to write in or comment on the posts and shit. Yeah, I'm wondering which I'm gonna go with, because I feel like it's worth the risk at $309. I mean, like I said, it can be a fucking toy if it really doesn't work out. And I appreciate people trying to innovate, you know, and I think Hollow Sun is building a reputation very slowly from this company that everyone was trying to fucking shit on, you know, because they were like the affordable brand, and they've kind of overcome that. I just wish they would, like, make their logo a little bit less intrusive so people didn't know I was poor. It's, like, glaring. It's like, I'm not an RMR, which I guess they have to kind of spread the word. I don't know. That's just me being a fucking fussy bitch. Anyway, that's my, like, gun bit. I'm just fucking... I've been so aggressively upgrading my gear, I'm now like, okay, what's next? What's important? And I don't know, I'm just really enjoying putting time in with my pistol, because I am sitting on a little bit of 9mm, and I am burning through it, because I've been enjoying myself a little bit too much. But, I don't want to stop. I want to keep on pushing those skills a little bit, because handguns are like, they're like not a gimmick. They're a novelty, that's the word. They're a novelty to me, because it's like the first time and it's the first time I've got to play with ARs too, to this extent. And all that good shit, like, consistently. But the handgun feels more special just because I fucking couldn't have access to one before. I don't know, we'll move on from guns, because not everyone enjoys me rambling about my purchasing decisions. So I'll move on to something that I've been wanting to talk about on a podcast for a while, and that is music. There was never really a good spot on the E-Militia podcast, and, I love the E-Militia podcast, and for those wondering, I'm still absolutely going to be doing that, but there was never really, time to talk about pop culture so much. It just doesn't suit us. So, it'll be nice to break away and talk about something that, my whole account takes its name from a Anarcho-Punk song from CRASS, Bloody Revolutions. So, and, I like to use the visuals and the kind of aesthetic and the attitude of, the punk rock DIY movement. I think there's a lot of value in just that culture for liberty and anti-authoritarianism. So, yeah, it's been weird that I haven't had the chance to really do shows on my love for music before. I thought I'd share with you a very recent discovery of mine. I say discovery of mine. My sister showed me this band called Twin Temple. She has much better taste than me. I just, most things I come across is literally through my politics. I'm like, oh, these guys are angry about the same shit. Cool. Like fucking, BATF from, Ozrotten. I found that because I was just fucking typing in shit about the ATF. But, yeah, so Twin Temple, they do this genre, and it's gonna upset some people, called satanic doo-wop. And it's not like, before you shut down the podcast and, comment how BR's a Satanist, it's like the Anton LaVey kind of Satanism, where it's all libertarian-esque and like free will and free speech kind of attitude, rather than be good to people and don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to yourself, kind of like that weird humanist atheist Satanism, not the sacrificing babies and drinking blood kind of shit. Anyway, it's kind of fun. They do it's got this real Cramps energy to it, like kind of they do this 60s slow doo-wop, and then like the vocals sound authentic and like really nice singing, but then the content is obviously, satanic and shit. It's all like singing to Lucifer and stuff, and I don't know, it's fun. It's kind of fun. So I'm into that whole vibe that what do they call it? Horrorbilly? Kind of rockabilly, but kind of like Misfits Danzig shit, taking this genuine art form, like that doo-wop classic sound that everyone can recognize, and then merging it with, I don't know, all these kind of silly horror elements. It's just fun. I fucking appreciate that shit. I was definitely a little horror punk kid at one point. Judge it for what as you will. But yeah, that was a cool little find. I thought I'd just share it with you. Anyone who's interested in that kind of sound. I also like Argyle Goolsby. Like some of his stuff, he does fuck, what song is it? I forget. But he has a few songs that sampled things like Back to the Future, like that kind of the band in the first one, and then puts like a horror spin on it. And his vocals are fucking cool. Actually saw him live for the first time after moving here, right before everything fucking got shut down. I was out drinking pretty hard for the show because it was the first time I'd gone out to a punk show in ages. And oh my fucking Christ. So I started talking to these two guys in line because I just went alone because I don't fucking know anyone here into the scene yet. And so I was just in line and I started talking to this dude who's like he's a recent war vet, Afghanistan, and has some PTSD, and he goes to shows. It's kind of like his how he deals with it, and real fucking cool dude. He was like a big Misfits guy, friends with like a really good Misfits cover band, to the point he has their logo tattooed on him. Fucking, I was like, I respect it. Dedicated a calf to him. So he was fucking cool, and so was he had like a, I guess, I don't know what you call him, like a therapist kind of aide. I don't know, but he was cool too, and they were both like into the shows and shit. And so he fucking knew the first band that went on. And so they get off stage, and we're drinking with the opener. So I was like, fuck yeah, I feel like I'm at home. And so that progresses. Second band goes on, they fucking kill it. I'm starting to, get a little bit obnoxious, like trying to start a pit in like the first two acts when everyone's dead, as I'm 5 drinks deep. And then second act comes off, starts drinking with us, and third act comes off, same thing. Some guy starts talking about fucking what was it, Odinism? I don't know what the fuck do you call it when you believe in the Norse gods. Like, he was genuinely religious. I mean, fucking power to you, dude. But that was his thing. And so we were all drunk and curious, so we talked to him, and we lost track of time. Didn't realize fucking Argyle Goolsby, the main fucking act, was on stage. So we came in like fucking 3 minutes into his set. At this point, I was like fucking blackout drunk. Annoyingly, because I'd been just socially drinking for the first time in ages. Had no fucking tolerance. And damn, I was fucking going for it in the pit. I was like fucking reaching out and shit, and he fucking like high-fived me, and I was like, yeah, that was corny as shit, but I feel cool. And I must have looked fucking psycho in the pit, because I was like way drunker than everyone else, I'm almost certain. And yeah, I spoke to him after the show, because that's a whole other story, but I saw him in London like 2 years prior, performing with Michael Graves, and I fucking saw him like putting away his gear after, and no one wanted to talk to him. No one recognized him for some reason. Everyone just wanted to talk to Michael Graves. And I fucking looked at him and didn't say shit. And it's a whole story. I'll fucking say it some other time. But essentially, I missed out on talking to him prior. And so I went up and spoke to him this time, but I was blackout drunk. So I got these like really fucking blurred pictures with him. And he signed 2 posters for me. I think out of sympathy, because I was fucking destroyed. And signed them, with his name, and then God Save the Queen. So fucking, he fucking got me. But yeah, like that was my last show before everything fucking shut down. Thought I'd just share that with you, because I've been thinking about shows a lot recently. I've been fucking missing them, because I just kind of figured out a few good spots to go locally. And yeah, now no one's even doing underground shows. There's not fucking speakeasies. This is like the lamest fucking prohibition ever. Or the lamest Roaring 20s ever. We're already a year in, and there's been no like fucking Tommy guns or bootleggers or any kind of cool shit. They're just like, nope, take your recreational weed and fucking fuck off. Anyway, let's wrap up with some questions and then we can get out of here. Alright, you guys submitted some questions for me. Someone asks, Boogaloo Tactics, ? Possibly under a different name? I'm really wrestling with it at this point. Like, the main title for the longest time at the minute of the book has been, like, the new title is Defensive Warfare Against the State, and aka Boogaloo Tactics. And I'm like, fuck, do I want to keep the subheading in? And I'm tempted to just to help it gain some notoriety, you know? Because, I mean, books people want to ban are the ones everyone wants to grab. And the main thing is I want this to be like a, you know, how to go in the woods and wage insurgency for dummies kind of book. You know, that is the goal. Just like a good fucking no bullshit guide to going and being a resistance fighter, no matter what the fucking cause is. And so, yeah, like I'm not sure if I want to tie it up with Boogaloo and all the fucking weight of that. I might, like, for the notoriety, like I said, but if it turns out to be more hassle and inconvenience than it would to just, like, fucking pose it as some, I don't know, lefty manual, you know, so it can just get a free pass. Although I guess now that the Trump era is over, revolutionary shit might be out the door. We shall see. But possibly under a different name. It's definitely going to be, the main title is going to be Defensive Warfare Against the State, but whether it keeps the subtitle is another thing. What will the Q-tards do next? They're a very different breed of like pumped up conservative, because conservatism has usually had like you know, like a founding element in how America originated. You know, like it was from the founders, this kind of part of their message they were adopting and making their, like, identity. Or, you know, whether it was the evangelicals or the Tea Party movement or even the Trump people, they all had some kind of, like, patriot message. And that you know, like, original patriot message. Even if they were getting it completely fucking wrong with their interpretation. But the Q guys are like, they're going off someone probably fucking with them really, really well on an internet forum. So they're a very different kind of cultist. And so I don't know if they're going to look for the next craziest thing or if they're in it for life. If this is just going to be like their fucking weird thing and, you know, you're going to see just the Q-tards dying off, you know, as along with the boomers. I think they're either going to seek out a more radical storyline of what they've already been following, because some of them are in the fucking hole, you know, a few years now. Or they're going to be like, yeah, fuck, that wasn't quite it, but I guess, anti-authoritarian. Well, not really. They thought there was a secret government that was going to defeat the real government, which is the evil one. Like, a good government would defeat the evil government, and then it all would be good. So their childlike fantasy is already fucked from the offset. So they're not really anti-authoritarian, but they have, like, a rebellious identity because they're not liked by anyone, which, you know, kind of lends itself to libertarianism because no one likes us either. So, you know, maybe they'll bleed some to us, and I think a lot will probably stick with it for years to come, at least 2 years into the Biden presidency. You'll still be hearing about this movement. I'm not sure if it'll weather the whole thing, or if there'll be some other populist movement that grabs them, but some other solution, you know, so they can get back to booting. But, yeah, I think they're just gonna seek out some more crazy shit to follow, whether it's, you know, radical libertarianism, which we hope, or, whatever the fuck other dark shit they end up stumbling into. Have you read The Story of CRASS by George Berger? I have not. Actually, it's in my reading list. I've got like 5 books to get through at the minute, and it's amongst them. So yeah, I do want to learn. It's surprising I haven't already read these, but I guess I was more, as I was stumbling into anarchy, I was less focused on anecdotal evidence and reasoning and more theory. So I was like, I don't want to know how you got here. I want to know why you're here and what my arguments for being here are, and solidifying, you know, the instincts I had about government. And so now I'm kind of going back, now that I'm, you know, very sure about my opinions and stances and the reasoning for basically all my beliefs. We're all still learning constantly, I hope. But now I'm kind of turning my attention more to propaganda and how to put my message out there most effectively and in a way that's best for people receiving it for the first time or people who want to educate others. Because I kind of had this scary realization before I got zucked. I was like, wow, I've got over 20,000 people following me. That's a lot of responsibility. And, you know, fucking up how I put out messages at that point was, okay, there's a lot of people who could echo a shitty message if I put it out there. So I was starting to look back to other anarchists, and, you know, you'll see me, I'm getting into the fucking Facebook mum stage where I'm just posting quotes, but they're all from, like, anarchists and shit, because I'm starting to appreciate, you know, I don't fucking care if they're, you know, Rothbardian kind of anarchists or leftists, as long as they're, you know, I'm not talking about their economics, I'm talking about their anti-authoritarian sentiment. And, usually they're accomplished philosophers. They're, like, middle-aged people who talked about this and were notable enough to make some history. And so seeing how they kind of communicated their message and how they argued it even decades ago, because anarchism isn't a modern concept, it's part of history from the Greek times. So yeah, you know, there's been different strategies. There's been different strategies for communicating this message for literally thousands of years. So seeing what other people have to say about it is, I don't know, it's become more and more important, so I can help, you know, start other people who want to educate others off on the right foot, rather than just talking fucking nonsense or strategies that have been proven to not work. So I don't know, I'm kind of I'm really interested in reading more about CRASS and their kind of propaganda, because I already know, you know, a fair bit, like the Thatcher Reagan tapes and such. I just want to know more about their day-to-day kind of strategy, because they fucking DIY'd shit entirely themselves. They did crazy stuff and put out a message much bigger than themselves in a, you know, before the internet age. And it's like, okay, well, we have way better information dispersal methods these days, so let's have a look at their strategy and see if it's relevant. So yeah, that's a long way of saying I have not read it, but it's on my list, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, that was me waffling on about all sorts of shit just for an hour. So you know, this is all, I'm still playing with what we're doing with this show. It's meant to be pretty casual, just politics, guns and punk rock, and whatever else is happening in the world. So, yeah, I hope you guys like listening, and, you know, we're still working on this, we're still deciding what we're doing. We being me, because I don't have to debate with anyone what we're doing. God damn it. And that sounded really passive-aggressive. I love my e-militia, and Mel comes up with all the good ideas, so let's just put that out there. Yeah, so this is going to keep on evolving, and we're going to do whatever we want to with this show, but the main concept is going to be covering shit that interest me, and news you won't be seeing in the headlines, but, international news that might not be up for discussion as much, and relevant gun culture shit, relevant, about music, because it's a good space to talk about it. I'm not stepping on anyone else's toes. So, next time I've got a very special guest joining me. I'm looking forward to talking about the military with him. Thanks for listening, guys.